Alrighty, guys. We are here live with Pro Play Games at the final round of Swiss here at the Pro Play Games case tournament. And we have Andres Espinoza from. Whoa. I'm sorry, guys. We have Andres Espinoza, second place YCS Memphis versus Michael State, Goukis. Who knows? Old archetype, new support equals something that's a little bit better. Maybe a lot better. These nightmares definitely giving a huge edge to Goukis, giving them a huge arsenal of link monsters. And Andres playing the Old Faithful, Pendulums. Not the FTK or OTK version. Oh, and there's an Ash Blossom from State, stopping Andres' turn, looks like. He's going to go and summon Suprex, I believe the name is. So, State going into the Noble Knight link. That's a card that didn't see much play, probably any play, before, other than Noble Knights. But you see it a lot more now. It does require 2 warriors, which is one of the reasons why you saw 0 play from it. But State getting his engine going, and Andres acknowledging that his turn 1 push was stopped, and with no significant follow-up, just scoops it up to State, which seemed like he had something pretty big brewing for his turn. Alright, as far as that Noble Knight that Michael State had summoned, first time we see it on stream actually, there's a card that a few people probably haven't seen before. It's called Isold? Two Tales of the Noble Knights, and requires 2 warrior monsters for the link requirements. It is a link 2. If this card is link summoned, you can add 1 warrior monster from your deck to your hand, but for the rest of the turn, you cannot normal summon or set or special summon monsters with that name. Second effect, you can send any number of equipped spells with different names from your deck to the graveyard. Special summon 1 warrior monster from your deck whose levels equals the number of cards sent to the graveyard. You can only use each effect once per turn. So that's actually pretty interesting because, as we know, State is actually playing a few equipped spells. So he does get the added benefit of using the second effect of his link. So that card's actually really good, especially in State's build. I don't know if equip spells are the norm for Goukis, but State's build is playing a few equip spells. From what I know, he does play the Divine Phoenix sword, which can be recurred from the graveyard by banishing 2 warrior monsters from the graveyard. And it looks like he does play Axe of Fools, but I believe that's in his side deck. Yeah, so Axe of Fools in Michael's side deck. And that's also another interesting card because That's an equip spell that you can actually use on your opponent's monster to totally turn their card into a vanilla, but it also gives them 1,000 attack power. So it's pretty good going second, and it's an equip spell that you can use with the Noble Knight link. And it looks like State opened up with the Predator Plant combo, and it seems as if Andres let State go first, which he might be regretting at this moment because it doesn't seem like Andres has any type of hand traps. Oh, sorry. Michael State did win game one. Double check that. So State again with the two tails of the Noble Knights. Searching out his Goukis, which are all warriors, from what I know. Making the deck play cards like Rhoda and that Divine Sword. And Andres is going to play a Drolin Lock here on the adding. Okay, and State's going to use the Noble Knight effect that we were talking about earlier. He's going to just send one equip spell card in the Divine Sword to summon a Gouki, the octopus one. So that one brings so much to the deck because it is a level 1. So he only has to send one equip spell, which is really good, especially when you draw multiples. If he is playing multiple copies, which seems like he's not actually. Seems like he's only playing one copy of the Divine Sword. But if you were to play multiple copies, you do have that option of bringing out maybe a level 2. I don't know if a level 2 exists for Goukis, but for sure the level 1, even if you do draw one, you're still able to play the Noble Knight effect to get that last Divine Sword from your deck, dump it, and then special summon the Gouki Octopus. So State recurring that the Divine Sword and going into a Link monster here, Nightmare Goblin. Goblin's going to go ahead and discard the Divine Sword Phoenix from State's hand, but State is not going to be able to draw here because he still is under Drolin Lock. The Nightmare Goblin is also going to give State an extra normal summon, which I'm not sure he utilizes here. Like I said, he is under Droll, so he can still make a board. The problem is, how many resources does he want to sacrifice on top of the ones that he's already not being able to replenish because of the drone lock? So some fields don't seem as economic or as favorable to make, just because you can't get that instant like value out of your cards. Stay going with a Firewall Dragon here. Yeah, Andres is in a rough spot here. He's going to use Chronograph. Astrograph is going to attempt to summon, but I think State has. Does State have a Ghost Ogre in hand? I believe so. Getting another Chronograph, I believe. Yeah, Andres is going to go after that Firewall Dragon. Alright, State's going to bounce back that Time Gazer, I believe. Andres is going to go on the aggressive here. It looks like he only has beatdown and doesn't have too much pendulum plays. But he is going to actually go into the link after getting rid of the board, just in case State does have the Ghost Ogre. And we're going to see it if State actually does indeed have the Ghost Ogre here. State waiting. Oh, okay. So Andres choosing not to do Electromite's effect yet. He's going to play a Dark Worm. He's going to search a scale. He's going to play the scale. Now he's going to use Electromite's effect. And State, does he have the Ghost Ogre? In situations like this, you normally see the opponent also. Sometimes you just want to bluff like you do have the hand trap because it does make your opponent play a little bit differently. So I totally get what State's doing here. Even if he doesn't have the Ash. I mean the Ghost Ogre. And he does have the Ghost Ogre. Yeah, I thought I saw that in his hand. Usually you can just use it to like mind game your opponent. And just like you think a little bit longer than usual on plays. I mean, you don't want to take it too excessive because then you could be called for slow playing if it's something that you obviously don't have a response to and it takes too long. But definitely taking a few extra seconds to just think about a play and having it resolve, even when you don't have a hand trap, can swing a whole match in your favor because your opponent plays just so awkwardly and differently. Alright, so Andres is going to draw off the Electromite here. And he's going to get a Black Fang Magician and the Gate 0 in order to complete his scales. And this might be some bad news for State, but we'll see as Harmonizing Magician grabs a friend from the deck. And Zonky Magician is down. I believe that's the name of it. And cool thing about Zonky Magician, yeah, that's the name. So the Pendulum effect, well, actually the Monster effect, which is the only relevant thing, out when usually what's on the field. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can target one light monster on the field. That monster's has its effect is negated until the end of the turn. So it's actually really good, especially against a 60 card deck. But most importantly, it's a level 7, so you can actually use it to. You can actually just use it to make your absolute play in order to kill off the absolute and then make a vortex. So that's really cool. And then the Supreme King Venom Dragon coming out on board and copying an ability here. Ooh, Andre's making a pretty deadly board here. Ooh, chronograph and chronograph. This might be game. It looks like State's going to scoop it up. Yeah, that's a lot of attack power on board. I was about to say. All right, Andre's playing that out masterfully. And doing what he needs to do to stay alive at least one more game. So we're going down to a 1-1 game 3 tiebreaker. We're going to see one of these two players move on to the top 8. Maybe both. I think they're both good enough records that they might just make it in the top 8. Regardless of this match, I think we pulled them from like table 2 or 3. Yep, dropping triple negate, but this time on the offensive. Usually you see that triple negate going first. I don't know. I mean, that was a risky play by Andres letting State go first. It's very risky. So let's see for Andres. He's probably gonna want to see if you're State here. You actually don't know. Well, actually, State lost here, so State's gonna go first or second. Like he's gonna have the decision. I'm curious to see if State actually makes Andres go first, because that's what Andres did to him. But if you're State as well, you saw that your opponent made you go first, so maybe that plays into like his thought process a little bit, and he's like, "Oh man, he wants me to go first. I shouldn't go first." So it looks like State did decide to go first, from what I saw. All right, it looks like he has Darling, the Orpheus Scorpio. He has Twin Twister. So maybe he was actually prepping to go. Well, Twin Twister's good first, second. But he has a pretty good combination of cards here. He has Ghost Ogre, from what I saw. He has Rhoda. He has the Scorpio plant. The only problem with this deck is the insane amount of normal summons. But then again, that's why you have Nightmare Goblin. May not be as bad now that every deck has a generic Link Seraphonite, which is actually just insane. But State's gonna start off here with a Noble Knight of the Two Tails. Been over how good this card is. Searches on summon. I can also special summon a level 1 Gouki from the deck by sending just one single equip spell from the deck to the yard. So State's going to go ahead and search. And then he's going to go ahead and send the equip spell in order to get the level 1 Gouki the octopus. Let's see what else States has here. I don't. I would not imagine that Andres has any type of hand trap here. I think you would have seen at least one out of the hand by now, but State's going to take this opportunity of saying that the coast is clear by banishing a D hero malicious for another D hero malicious. So malicious here used primarily just to extend some link summon plays. I don't believe State plays any type of synchros or exceeds. You do see the fusion for instant fusion. And you're going to see a Nightmare Goblin here, which I don't think he had the materials to bring back the Divine Sword into his hand. Or else you would have seen State put the Divine Sword into his hand first and then resolve the Nightmare Goblin in order to get more value. But it actually seems unfortunate that he didn't have the resources to play the Divine Sword first. But now he does have the resources after that play, so he's going to add that Divine Sword as soon as possible. He's going to resolve a Rhoda. The Rhoda is going to be able to get him a level 4 lower warrior, which is essentially any Gouki or an Armageddon. So he's going to get the Twist Cobra. Twist Cobra, same as all the other Goukis when they're sent to the yard. Sent from field to yard, then they add a Gouki. But State's going to use that extra normal summon, not for the Twist Cobra, but for the Orphis Scorpio. And that Scorpio is going to special summon a Darling Cobra from the deck, which is in turn going to get Michael State the powerful instant fusion. That's going to let him continue onto this link summoning spree and possibly complete a U here. We haven't seen a U all day. We don't know if State's actually going to go into that, but he's going to take a link 4 here, I believe. Yep, link 4 for the firewall. No, I don't believe he added a card for the discard off Goblin. I think he wrote it right after the Goblin, I believe. Because I think the Goukis are only when they're sent from field to yard. Yeah, it's only from field to graveyard. Alright, State using the single Goblin to bring out the Nightmare Mermaid and Nightmare Mermaid. Another new card from Flames of Destruction. Only needs one link. Only one card, actually, and I think it requires one Nightmare. Just one Nightmare. Okay, we see another card here, Ibli. Ibli, I haven't even gotten a chance to read myself, so I'm going to go ahead and read it to you guys. I think this is the only Nightmare non-extra deck card. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Only one I've seen so far. It's actually a Cyber's monster. When this card is normal summon, you can target one Link monster in your graveyard, special summon it to your side of the field, so it points to this card, but changes attack to 0. Also negate its effects. You cannot special summon monsters except for Link monsters. If this card in its owner's control is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card to your opponent's side of the field in defense position. You can only use this effective once per turn. So that's a Nightmare Corruptor Ibly, which seems pretty damn good. On the normal summon, it essentially makes you a free Link. And then when it sends to the graveyard, you can special summon it to your opponent's field in defense position. So it looks like Andres is going to take a moment to read the card just like we did. And it looks like State's opting to not play it on Andres' field. Or he is. Yeah, he is. He is going to play that on Andres' field. So Andres is going to take a moment to read that. You cannot special summon monsters except for Link monsters. So that's the effect of the card that Andres is going to have on the field. So he's not going to be able to play like Chronograph or anything like that. He needs to get the Ibly off the board first, and then proceed with special summon tactics like Harmonizing Magician, Chronograph, Astrograph. So State still pushing forward here with a Nightmare Cerberus. That Gouki rematch, by the way, very good card. Gouki rematch, reading. Target 2 Gouki monsters in graveyard with different levels. Special summon them in defense position. You can only activate one Gouki rematch per turn. So extremely good. He's going to go and get the Suprex and the Twist Cobra. That's a level 3 and a level 4. So that works. Oh, State finally summoning a Nightmare Griffin. Nightmare Griffin, first time we see that summoned, and I was hoping he would do it. I was hoping he'd do it like the last match that he was on stream, but he never ended up making it actually. It's a Link 4 extra deck monster. That says if this card is Link summoned, you can discard one card, then target one spell or trap in your graveyard, set it to your field, but it cannot be activated this turn. Then, if this card was co-linked when this effect was activated, you can draw one card. So no discard. Oh, actually, yeah, you do have to discard for the spell and trap removal, and then you just draw a card at the end of it. You can only use that ability once per turn. Then special summon monsters on the field cannot activate their effects unless they are linked. So that's actually pretty powerful Floodgate. One of the boss monsters for this deck, and with it Babuska on board as well, you got to find it pretty hard for Andres to get over this. But he's going to try. He's going to link away the Ibli and the Supreme King for Underclock Taker, which seems pretty unorthodox, but that's what Ibli makes you do. Makes you do some unorthodox type plays. Andres is going to try to work his way around this huge board. It's going to be hard with that Babuska. I know knowing that card can get. All right, Andres is going to go with a Astrograph here. Yeah, State's going to take another turn here. Doesn't seem very good for Andres. Yep, detach for the Babuska. That is something that he has to do in the standby phase. Just remembered. State with pretty good grip here. He has Ash and what seems like a trap, which I think is Solemn Strike or D Barrier. D Barrier, from what I see. Armageddon Knight, and one card that I just can't make out. But this seems like it might be it for State. We're going to see exactly what he does for this turn. He's going to banish 2, get back the sword. Also, sword could be used to push for game in this deck, since like they're almost all warriors. But State's going to make a unicorn to try to blow away that Astrograph, I think. Yeah, I'm just going to take a moment to read that unicorn, and it looks like an Ash Blossom is going to come down. Unicorn reads, when this card is link summoned, you can discard one card, then target one card on the field, shuffle that card into the deck. Then, if this card was co-linked when this card's effects were activated, you can draw one card. While any co-linked nightmare monsters are on the field, for your no more draw during your draw phase, draw one card for each different card name among those co-linked nightmare cards instead of just drawing one card. Wow. So nightmare is pretty real. I did not know about that second effect of drawing multiple cards if you have multiple nightmares out. That seems just incredible. So State again with another rematch, and this is pretty devastating. As Andres, you're just gonna show the top card of your deck to your opponent, and you're just gonna be like, I can't do anything because that board was just so overwhelming. It was just incredible and pretty unfortunate there for Andres. He couldn't do much. So State will for sure advance into the top 8. It looks like State just taking some selfies while playing. Looks like State needs a new profile picture on Facebook. Wants to take a picture of this board. It's funny to watch. Here's some great additional content here from Pro Play Games. Let me go ahead and fix these scores, but it looks like State walking away with a win here and solidifying another top 8 for Goukis. It looks like he did top, I believe, yesterday at a Nintendo Switch tournament. I think he split the finals with the same deck. I don't know if it's the same exact 40 cards, but he played Goukis yesterday 100%. So we're going to see exactly if he makes another finals appearance with the deck against some pretty darn good opponents. Here taking down YCS Memphis, second place, Andres Espinoza. We're going to go and pull it back to a small commercial break for you guys. So we'll see you in like 5-10 minutes when we start the first round of the top 8. Thank you guys again for watching, and we'll be right back.